Kristallnacht?
Yeah.
Oh, that was terrible. I was at home, but my husband was caught. So I was with him in my parents' house. My husband went home to our apartment, and on that day, the Nazis went from house to house to ask if there are Jews who were living there. My husband was there, so they came up and they took him. And when he left, he wrote a letter to his uncle and said, "They take me now away, but if I don't come back, please take my wife and my coming child to the United States." So, and I was at home, and I went half crazy. And no, but you were born.
I was
already.
born. I was
Yeah,
already.
he
I was
was
3
already
months
born.
old.
Yeah, that's right. He was 3 months old. That's right. And then the family came to see us, but it was terrible. And then they kept him 10 days, and then he came home, my husband, and his eye was all swollen. The way they beat him up, his head was completely shaved, like a prisoner. And you can imagine, he didn't change his clothes, nothing for 10 days, and his occupation was to wash toilets. So, but he came home, and that was the main thing. And we had an affidavit, and so we had the hope that we could come to the United States, because it was to have an affidavit at this time was like you won the grand prize.
What was it like the day after Kristallnacht?
Oh, the day, horrible, because the Jewish stores, they were broken in, the glass was all broken, the synagogues were burned down, all the shit. Only one synagogue wasn't, and that is the Seitenstätten temple, and it wasn't burned because it was in the middle of the city, very close to all the old buildings, and they were afraid if they burned that, they would burn the whole district, and they didn't want to do that, so they left it. The rabbis had to stand in front of the stores with how do you say that? With a sign, and the sign said, "Don't buy Jews." And the rabbis had to hold it and don't go into Jewish stores. And so a Nazi came up to him and he said, "Well, Rebbe, how do you like it to stand like this?" So he said, "Well, if up in heaven they like it, I like it too." And that was his
I think they had a great commitment to make me a normal American citizen, an American child. So we didn't live in New York. We lived in a much more integrated environment in a certain way. And so I think they didn't want me to see myself as a child of survivors or as a child of the Holocaust.